Welcome back. It's another great day. So continuing on with this fence project, so we got all the material brought up, 6 rolls of wire. I don't know how many T-posts. It was a pile of, it was a bucket full of T-posts, literally. We got all that brought up last night. And then also last night, I went ahead and dug the hole and concreted in this post. The other thing, another little tip, if you don't cap these posts and just leave them open, eventually they'll rot out at the bottom. And so I went ahead and put some concrete in there. And the way I did that is I stuffed the concrete bag, just a little, tore a little piece off and just shoved it in here. So there's a concrete bag sitting right about here. And then I filled those with concrete to keep the water out. And then this morning I put in the H-brace. I strung a bottom wire and I put in 25 T-posts all in a straight line. Use that bottom wire as a straight line and it works like a champ. You don't have to run a secondary line. So for the rest of today, we are going to finish putting in the wires. We got to tie up the bottom wire, and then we've got to run 4 more wires, stretch them, tie them up, and then we got to go put all the stays in. I should be able to finish that either today or wrap it up tomorrow. And then I've got this small little fence line right here to do. That one's going to be a lot easier. T-posts are already in the ground. We just got to take off the slick wire and then put up the barbed wire. And then we will have all of the slick wire off this place, which will be great because I'm tired of the cattle getting out and about where I don't want them. On another project, we're going to end up taking out this telephone pole fence. We may do that during the week when the evenings are cool. So let's go ahead and get started. That's what we're doing today. It's building some fence. So for our bottom wire, we want it about 18 inches off the ground. So that's about 8 knobs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's about right there. To put the clip in, remember pressure against the fence. We always want the pressure to be up against the knobs here. So the clip, this funky looking clip here, it comes around on, and then what I like to do is take the end of these fence ply, I forget what they're called, but you just take the clip and you can move it around and then you can continue wrapping it. And then if this side isn't quite where it needs to be, you can kind of help it out a little bit. Now it's nice and secure. You can see how tight it is against this knob. That wire will not fall. So we just do this all the way down the line. And then when we get down to the bottom, we will, or sorry, not to the bottom, when we get down to the other end, we'll unroll a spool of wire and come back. We'll be ready to stretch it, and then we can walk back and put that wire up, and we'll just kind of run that pattern until we run out of wire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. We made it all the way to the end. Now we're gonna go put the second wire in, and we want it about 4 or 5 inches up. This is the old wire, so we're gonna put it about here or so. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 knobs up, so maybe right about there. And I like to do a double wrap on it. Boy, that barbed wire, it just reaches out and gets you. Come on. There we go. I always like to have enough of a tail to get a couple of wraps on it. just got to unroll it down the line. Woo. Sometimes your roll becomes a mess. Alrighty, so we got the wire down here. It did not unroll very nicely, which is part of it, but we got our fence stretcher. Connect that guy in, and then we just, you can see over here, we've got it tied to the gate, to the post, chain, come along, and we just pull it until it gets tight. There's a spring on this puller that when you put the tension on it, it clamps that hammer down, that foot down, and that's what keeps it from sliding out. You do have to be careful though. Sometimes they don't stretch quite right and it'll slip. You just need to keep pulling on it. And that's pretty tight. You make it too tight and it's gonna break in the wintertime. You make it too tight in the summer, it'll break too. All right, so now we just need to get our remaining stuff down here, and we want it about here, so we'll cut off quite a bit. Woo! Doggone it. Sometimes you get enough tension or enough slack and it'll let go like that. And then you get to do it all over again. All right, so now that we got this tight again, we can come back, measure about where we need it. So you can see I came all the way back to here. So we're gonna do a double wrap, and then we got to tie it off. And so we want to give ourselves enough wrap to do that. You don't want to cut it short. All right, so then we want it up. And it's a little tough to get between this panel here, especially since now that I've got the dang fence stretched off of it. Well, shoot. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Well, I guess I gotta unstretch the fence and pull from somewhere else. See, the problem is the barb won't go through the space here. So let me figure out what we're gonna do. All right, this is take 2 or 3 or whatever, I don't know. So what I ended up doing is I took the pins out and the pins out, so it's just resting there. And I've got the bottom resting on that other hinge. And I'm thinking if I'm careful enough, I won't bounce it off, because that thing is ridiculously heavy. And it's got a gate hanging off of it and, you know, all those things. So I'm thinking if I can just be gentle, then I can get away with doing this without having to become the Hulk to put the gate and the fence back together when we're all said and done. The other thing is, if I were to get a hammer and pull this around and make it tighter, but I put enough strain on this wire that it's gonna stretch right out. And so I really don't need it. But if you're in a pinch, that is a way to do it if you don't have a stretcher with you. And then we just wrap this guy. Around itself. All right, and then we can let the tension go. We want it about there or so. All right, nice and tight. Now we just walk down the line, go put all the clips on, and then we'll roll out the next set of wires. We got all 5 wires up, hung up, tightened. So the next step is to put these stays in. And I've shown you these before, but these are metal stays. They go in between the fence. Sometimes you'll see 2 stays if the span is long enough. But I put the post a little bit closer together. The cattle like to run up to this fence when there's a storm in, so I built it a little bit stronger to withstand that. But basically these go in, they twirl around. You can just use a pair of pliers or whatever to bong them down. And there you go. Other things I didn't mention, so you know, some of the fence post terminology. So T-post, clip, wire. The wire comes in different gauges. I'm not sure what gauge this is. And then you have your stays. Sometimes you'll see the stays in wood, which are fine. I like the metal ones better, but you know, wood ones work as well. You also have, when you're building your fence, you also have your pullers, so like a come along with the fence puller on it. They make other fence stretchers, wire stretchers, but I prefer that one. That's what I was taught and how to use, and I like that one. So I've seen some of the other ones and I'm not terribly keen on them. There you go. We'll do one more. See, I missed the lines. You're gonna back it up a little bit. You don't want to have to move the wire too much. You want it to just naturally hit it. That way you don't mess up your spacing. There we go. That is how you build a 5-wire barbed wire fence. Appreciate y'all watching. Hope y'all have a great day. Bye.